Before I demonstrate how to create our external volume, let's navigate to our catalog and have a look at how our catalog and organization is currently set up. So open your catalog by going over to the left navigation bar, click on catalog, and click on your organization, my organization here. As you can see, currently we've got the catalog that was created by Databricks, and then when we enter into that catalog, we will see the default schema that was created when we created our Databricks workspace. When we enter into that schema, you'll see every table that we had created. So the first table here, sales data table, is the CSV table that we created on our CSV data folder on Azure Data Lake Storage. This is an external table. It's not a Delta table, so you don't get those Delta features such as data lineage, versioning, and asset transaction. But this is our Delta table. That is also an external table. That's the one we created using the data that's sitting here in this folder. What Databricks did was it created a different folder on our Azure Data Lake Storage and copied the data over to this particular folder and stored it as Parquet files with all the asset transactions, data lineage, and data versioning features included, since it's a Delta table. But this is our managed table. The managed table, we just sort of loaded the data over to Databricks and then created our managed table. The difference between the managed table and these external tables is that when we drop the managed table, the data associated with the table is also gone. But when we drop these tables, there's the sales data table and then the sales data Delta table, since the files associated with these tables are sitting on Azure Data Lake Storage, those files will persist. We only get rid of the metadata over here on Databricks. Let's go over and view those data tables. When we click on it to open it, you'll see that we can view the column names, the data types of the columns, and some extra information about the table, such as the type, that is an external table, the owner who created it. The owner, this is the user that created the table. And when we go up here, we can view some sample data that's on this table. Click on it. To view the sample data, you must have an active and running cluster. Currently, we are using the DB admin cluster to view the data here. Because this table doesn't have those fancy Unity catalog features, we really cannot have history and lineage for this particular table. But when we look at the Delta table, you'll have some history. Every change we make to our Delta table will be appended to this particular history over here. And this is also stored on our Azure Data Lake Storage account. Our managed table also has the history and data lineage features of the Unity catalog. Of interest to us here is the newly created catalog that we have just created. And when we enter into that catalog, you'll see the schema we created. The new volume we are going to create will then be sitting inside this particular schema. Now, we could have created these tables over here in the schema, but we decided to just do it in the default schema and default catalog. Here, what we are going to do is we will create a volume and then map it to a newly created folder on our Azure Data Lake Storage account. So let's go over to our Azure Data Lake Storage account and open our Azure Data Lake Storage account. Go over to containers and open big data. Create a new directory here called weather data. Inside weather data, we are going to upload some data set called weather data. Now here first, I'm going to upload just the first data set, which is called weather data. For now, do not upload the weather data _2, just upload the first one. We have our weather data folder. We have our weather data.csv file uploaded here to our weather data folder on Azure Data Lake Storage inside the container big data. Now head back to your Databricks notebook, and here we're going to type out our code to create our external volume and map it to our weather data folder on Azure Data Lake Storage. Here is our code to create our volume, weather data volume, and we have qualified it using this the namespace big data catalog dot big data schema dot weather data volume. So this is the name we would like to give to our external volume, and we want it to be inside this particular schema inside the big data catalog. So let's go ahead and run our code, our cell, to create the external volume. And we are mapping it to our weather data folder that we had just created inside our big data container on our data lake storage account on Azure. I added a comment here to describe the external volume. So now our external volume has been created successfully. We got a response of OK. So let's head back to our catalog. At the moment we cannot see it. We have to refresh our catalog. When we refresh our catalog and go into big data catalog, big data schema, we have our external volume, weather data volume. When we go into weather data volume, we can view the files. Click on the file to view it. This is the data it contains. And you can see the list of files in that particular folder on Azure Data Lake Storage. File details. Here you get a path that points directly to the Azure Data Lake Storage directory that contains the files which map to this particular external volume on Databricks. And here it says that the volume type is external and updated by, and some other information you might need. So let's go over to overview. You see the owner who created the external volume. The owner has got managed permissions over the volume and can assign permissions to other users using the Unity Catalog data governance. Now with this particular setup, the advantage we have is that we can simply go over here to this upload to this volume button here at the top right corner, the blue button. Click on it to upload data. And when you upload new data files, they go straight to your Azure Data Lake Storage account. Go ahead, click on Browse, select Files. Now upload your weather data to file. Go ahead, click on Upload. And you can check this if there are existing files with the same name. I don't have any existing files with the same name. This has _2, the other one doesn't. So let's go ahead and click Upload. And now we've got 2 files. Go on and confirm if it's been uploaded to the folder that maps to this particular external volume on our Azure Data Lake Storage account. Here, let's refresh to see if it appears. And there we have it. We've got our second weather data file here uploaded via Databricks. Now with our external volume created and mapped to this particular folder, we can query the data over here and load it into a data frame. And if we wanted, we could even use that data frame to create an external delta table or a managed delta table. But first, let's just go ahead and create and load the data into a data frame here on Databricks. Here I've written the code to load our data in our weather data volume into a data frame. So first, let's try to load this data because I did not specify read schema in the header. Let's see what happens. But let me reject this particular change suggested by the AI and go back to our code. We are specifying the format to be Delta, but our format is actually CSV because it's just an external volume that's mapping to a directory on Azure Data Lake Storage, which contains CSV files. So we have to change this to CSV. Let's try to load it again. Now, even though our data has loaded, the data is a little bit messed up because we see a header appearing here in row 7, and then we see our header appearing here, but we've got a generic header as well. So let's be specific. Let's specify that we would like to have a header. We have a header in our CSV files. Specify that we have a header, and I would like infer schema to be used to infer the schema from our dataset. Here, let's take note how we are constructing the path to our external volume. First, we say /volumes, then followed by the catalog name, then followed by the schema name, and then followed by the external volume name. Then you can read the data from your external volume as it is here. If you also wanted, you could just come here, open the external volume, go to the catalog, schema, and then the specific volume you're looking for, and copy the full path. This is it right here. Just click on the copy button to copy it and go paste it over there in your code. So now that we have fixed the header to be true and the infer schema to be true, let's go ahead and load our data set again. And now it loads correctly. If we also wanted, we could use this data frame to create a managed table over here on Databricks, or an external Delta table on Azure Data Lake storage account.